The Whizzer HE01 was, or is, still one of the best sub $100 earphones you can get. So what would happen if you gave it a metal shell, threw in a balanced armature driver, and almost tripled the price? Let's find out. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews, and here we are with the Whizzer HE03AL. Comes in this pretty fancy box here, but I'm not going to open it up. I'm just going to tell you that basically what you get inside is the earphones, the detachable cable, you get this faux leather carrying case, and you get 6 pairs of silicone ear tips, 3 pairs of what they call soundstage ear tips, and 3 pairs of reference ear tips. So a good selection of tips there. Pretty nice case, but overall not a lot different in terms of accessories than you got with the HE01. Now the HE03AL here, the price is $229. And that is compared to the HE01, which had a slightly different case, but metal case. And there it is there. This one's got plastic shells. This one's got aluminium magnesium alloy shells. But just keep in mind, $79, $229. So let's have a look at these shells now, and you can see that they're basically the same shape as the HE01. That means they're pretty small. Means they're also quite comfortable. You got this AL13 on the faceplate on the left. Okay, so let's talk about how these sound now. And basically, I could almost sum it up by saying that they've taken the HE01 sound and put it in these shells. That is almost exactly what you get, to be honest. If you love the sound signature of the HE01, it's pretty almost certain that you're going to like the sound of the HE03AL. It's a bit of a mouthful, that name. But of course, not everybody has heard the previous model, so I'll tell you what this one sounds like. Basically, it's got a nice, warm, easygoing, organic, and musical sound signature. It's got a slightly emphasized bass. It's got reasonably forward mid-range and a kind of a laid-back soft treble. But let's break it down now, and we'll start with the bass. And yeah, the bass is slightly accentuated. It's not huge. It does have a nice amount of sub-bass rumble. It does get a good kick going on in the mid-range as well. Fairly linear transition between the sub-bass and mid-bass, so it is a pretty hefty low end, which transitions smoothly into the lower mid-range. And the mid-range itself is not particularly, it's not recessed, it's kind of forward. You could call it a W-shaped signature. So you get nice forward vocals, male and female vocals. The mid-range in general inherits some warmth from the bass. It's got slightly rounded notes, slightly softer notes, but the clarity is pretty good. The definition from top to bottom is pretty decent. It's not a really sharp definition, like leading edges and a little bit softened. Transients are not all that fast, but at the same time, the overall resolution is quite good. The detail retrieval is actually pretty good on these as well, just like it was with the HE01. The main difference, I would say, in the sound qualities between these two is that the new model, the HE03AL, has slightly better overall resolution and a little bit more detail retrieval. But apart from that, the actual presentation and the sound signature is almost identical. It's very, very similar. So you get the same sound with slightly upgraded technicalities here, which leads us to the treble now. The treble is, like I said, it's kind of relaxed. It's a laid back treble. It's got this pretty hefty dip in the lower treble. Now that does a couple of things. First of all, it makes the sound very smooth. It ensures that there's no harshness in the sound. There's no signs of sibilance or whatever. It is just a very smooth treble. The thing though is that has an effect on the soundstage, in particular the width of the soundstage, because the soundstage of the Whizzer here is quite narrow. In terms of forward depth or forwardness like that, it is pretty good, and there's a good sense of distance and different layers within the depth, but the width of the stage is quite narrow. Because the instrument separation and the overall resolution is still pretty good, it doesn't feel or sound congested or cramped, but just be aware that if you're looking for a very wide stage, these don't have it. But overall, the quality of the imaging, I would say it is pretty good. It's not the most precise, because all that lower treble has sort of been scooped out. And the main treble emphasis you'll find at around sort of 8 to 10 kilohertz, and then a little bit further on. But it is not a very forward treble. It's not sparkly, and it's not particularly energetic. However, it doesn't sound overly dark. Just be aware that it does have that scoop. So if you're looking for a really forward, vivid treble, these don't have it. These are sort of taking the more smooth musical approach rather than a technical or precise one in terms of treble. Okay, let's do a couple of quick comparisons here now. And first of all, I've got the NF Audio NM2 Plus. Now, compared to the Whizzer, the NM2 Plus here definitely has a much brighter sound signature. First of all, it's got less sub-bass emphasis, pretty even in terms of the mid-bass, but the NM2 Plus here has more upper mid-range, significantly more upper mid-range presence, so it can be a little bit shouty. Things like electric guitars, some female vocals are quite forward. They might be considered a little bit shouty, and on top of that, it's got some extra treble energy as well compared to the Whizzer, so it's a much brighter sound. In addition, it's got faster transients, it's got better definition. Things like the kick drum has got a sharper leading edge, it's got a more well-defined notes, and yeah, the note size throughout the whole soundscape is sort of leaner and sharper and more precise, which makes the instrument separation and overall resolution a bit more precise as well. But yeah, this one, a lot of people will find this sound tiring or fatiguing, whereas the HE03AL is really smooth and easygoing. And here we have got the beautiful Echo OH10, and the OH10 here is, I'd say it's just a little bit warmer than the Whizzer. It has big sub bass, like pretty huge sub bass, pretty big and thick sub bass too. It's a real thick thumpy sound bass. And in terms of the mid bass, it's got a little bit less in relation to its very low frequencies. And then moving into the mid range, the OH10 here is more recessed than the Whizzer here. So vocals and instruments throughout the mid-range are a little bit recessed by that. That has the additional effect of making the bass sound even bigger. And the treble here is similar in level to the HE03AL, but because of that recessed mid-range, it makes the treble seem perceived as more forward and a little bit more airy. Now, in terms of soundstage, the OH10 here has a bigger stage, but when it comes to imaging, the precision of imaging and treble, they're both pretty much on par with each other. Now, if I were to choose between these two, I'm not sure which way I would go. Going straight from the Whizzer to the OH10, the OH10 sounded a little bit dark, and the bass definitely sounded a little bit thick and slow in comparison. But given some more time for my ears and brain to adjust, I do love the sound of the OH10. You know, I'd probably be happy with either one of these. The only thing is that the Whizzer here is like roughly $50 or $60 more expensive, so keep that in mind. But anyway, that's the Whizzer HE03AL. It is a good earphone, but it is getting up there in price. I think they might have been a little bit too aggressive with their pricing, especially considering how close it is in terms of sound to the HE01 here. Like for less than $100, this is outstanding. For $230, these are kind of starting to look a little bit average in terms of sound quality. So that about wraps it up, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget there's a link to the full written review in the description below, along with links to all my social media channels. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, Parfam audiophile style. And if you're new to the channel, want to see more reviews, don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you later.